People who pass by more fast food restaurants on the way to work have a higher likelihood of being obese. And if this is true,
I wonder why that happens. What a mystery that must be.
I blame the drive-thru, because the drive-thru exploits quirks of human psychology.
Customers have been flocking to drive-thrus like never before.
Obesity rates are on the rise.
New research shows drive-thru service has become the meat of the business.
Sometimes you really don't want to leave your house. To be able to leave your house and not get out the car helps.
An alarming trend.
Now, it's not the drive-thru's fault that we all find convenience the path of least resistance and instant gratification.
Do they have drive-thrus in other places in the world where everybody isn't fat? Yeah. So, like, maybe it's not the drive-thru. You know, because, like, everybody else has a drive-thru, and it's just happening to us. So it's like, is it really the drive-thru, though?
Gratification so attractive. But modern drive-thrus are so much more than that.
How may I help you?
Modern drive-thrus use behavioral science and something called dark nudging to manipulate you into eating more fast food. And when you pair hyper palatable, salty, sugary, fatty fast food with the insanely convenient drive-thru that's been literally optimized to make you make bad decisions, it's truly no wonder that some people just can't resist. Like these
Well, that's true. Certain psychological tricks maybe should be like, demonized more and like maybe even illegal. But like, I bet they try this stuff in other countries too. Like, I bet they have pretty much the same menus. So like, how is this a problem with like the fast food if it's only really represented in one country? What are you getting at? What I'm getting at is I think that Americans have a self-control problem and they can't stop eating fast food and being fat and disgusting. And they're trying to blame it on the company because they don't want to take accountability for it. Make sense?
Companies are studying the way our brains make decisions. How you choose between saying yes.
A lot of different places are starting to do this. Like video games do this with psychology as well.
To fast food or saying no to fast food and then using this data to modify our behavior in a way that benefits them. And if you haven't noticed, this is happening from every angle these days. Whether it's TikTok or Twitter or food corporations or your governments. Everybody is investing big bucks into getting you to behave the way they want you to behave.
Naturally.
And with drive-thrus, the manipulation begins before you even hit the parking lots. But before we get into it, a message from today's sponsor. Okay, it's just a quick message from me. I'm thinking of starting a kind of newsletter. I do so much research and writing on so many different topics, but a lot of it never makes it here to YouTube. So I thought a newsletter could be fun. Nothing formal, just messages from me in your inbox that you might enjoy. I don't really have a specific plan right now. It honestly could be months before I send anything, but I just wanted to see if any of you guys would be into it. So if you're
interested, it's a good idea. She should do that through Patreon. Patreon creates an avenue for that already with like creating like user funded content. Like that's a good idea.
Interested in getting emails from me directly, click the link below and join the list. Thanks for your support, and now back to the video.
Yeah.
Many people don't realize the extent to which the drive-thru is fast food. Fast food restaurants didn't take off until American families started driving everywhere. And then fast food became this like natural extension of the sort of on-the-go lifestyle. As people spread out from the cities to the suburbs, everyone coming to a restaurant would be coming in a car. And so if you're a restaurant, you needed some way to deal with this.
Yeah, filter out all the cars.
First came the drive-in. You know in old movies, those diners with waitresses on roller skates taking your order from the parking lot? The drive-in was a whole event, a social meeting place, a date night, or fun family outing. But then came the drive-thru, which was kind of the opposite. No parking, no waiting, no hanging out, get your food, and then get back to whatever you were in the middle of doing. Fast forward to today.
Texting and driving.
The drive-thru is so heavily tied to the fast food experience that 47% of Americans would refuse to use a fast food restaurant if it didn't have a drive-thru, according to...
That's sad. That's really something. What's the obesity? How many people are fat? 39%. That's pretty close to 47. You want to go into McDonald's to eat? You don't have to go into McDonald's to eat. You can go into the store and then place a to-go order and then walk out of the store. I did that like 3 days ago. Walking? Yeah, true.
To a poll from earlier this year. Think about that. That means that if the insanely convenient drive-thru lane wasn't an option, many, if not most, fast food sales would never even happen. And immediately you can see the power of convenience.
To be fair, if I think none of them had drive-thrus, it's not like these people will be like, oh, I can't use a drive-thru. I guess I gotta go home and eat a salad. No. No, they're good. They're just gonna park and go in. All right, what do you got? Yeah, they're gonna walk in. They say they wouldn't go into one, but I bet a lot of them would.
About this a lot in some of my other behavioral science videos, but our brains are extremely biased toward convenience in the path of least resistance. Like back in the 1950s when drive-thrus were originally invented, they were an instant hit. People immediately flocked to them. So much so that drive-thrus became this like cultural phenomenon at the time. Like look at all
like my mom said back in the day, she used to with her friends, like this is like back in like I guess the 60s or some shit. They would get together and they would pool together like $1 and they would go to Taco Bell or some shit. Maybe it was the 70s.
They tried to turn into a drive-thru.
Yeah, 3000
the
BC.
drive-thru liquor store, the drive-thru laundromat, dairy store. These drive-thru dairy stores are so convenient. Even I enjoy shopping there. The drive-thru real estate firm.
Yep.
Okay, this last one deserves a really close look. 1958 Ford drive-thru sale. Just look at this little map. Look at this. Look at the path. Like this looks like an absolute nightmare. Drive-thru
It does.
Anyway, point being, we love the simple, insanely convenient
That
joy
looks like one of those things that you do in The Sims in order to kill the people in the city.
of not having to get out of our cars to do stuff. McDonald's website says that they waited until 1975 to open their first drive-thru, but they claim that when they finally did it, it boosted sales at that location by a full 40%. And today,
Jesus.
McDonald's says that their drive-thrus account for a whopping 70% or more of their total US revenue. And if you
I gotta tell you, McDonald's drive-thrus are next fucking level. They have the best drive-thrus. Because, like, they have that double drive-thru shit where it's like you can go to one or the other. And then, like, they're like, oh, do you want to order with the app? And then, like, you can do that. Like, it's actually so good.
ask yourself, well, why is
Chick-fil-A?
it that the
Yeah, Chick-fil-A
drive-thru is
does
so
that too.
insanely popular? The answer is the power of convenience.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before on my video about how convenience ruined breakfast, but
Ooh.
essentially it's not just that we're lazy, it's that our brains are wired to value convenient options. Behavioral science tells
But a big part of it is being lazy, though. So, like, that's like a big part is also being lazy. And I think also, like, yeah, this makes sense. It does. But whenever your brain is wired a certain way to do something, there's a lot of things that people's brains are wired to do that they don't do. You still got to exercise self-control.
us that if you want to make a behavior happen more often, make it easy.
That's
the
true.
more convenient it is for a behavior to occur, the more likely it is that the behavior will occur. And
That's
the
right.
original fast food
It's that
drive-thrus
simple.
of the 1950s kind of just accidentally stumbled upon this behavioral gold mine. They didn't realize at the time that their insane success was largely due to the fact that drive-thrus were appealing to our brain's biases. But today's drive-thrus are no accident. They are actively and intelligently exploiting these biases. Let's imagine the typical drive-thru situation. You're driving.
I feel like everything in every form of marketing exploits biases and consumer behavior. I do. I think that the foundation of marketing and sales is exploitation of human psychology in a way to make a person do something that they would not normally do. Because if they were already going to buy something, well, you wouldn't need to really market it or sell it.
Driving along on your way home from work. You're hungry, you're tired, you're feeling a little stressed from the rush hour drive, and you're anxious to finally get home and wind down from a long day. Unbeknownst to you, at that exact moment, you are the perfect, unsuspecting victim for the drive-thru. Why? Because all of these characteristics are risk factors for impulsive behavior.
You know what the biggest risk factor for impulsive behavior is? A lack of self-control. That's the biggest one. A lack of self-control. Somebody can't control themselves. Somebody doesn't know how to act. That's called being a bitch. And cocaine? Yeah, there's that too.
The brain makes decisions in basically two different ways. Either rationally and thoughtfully, or impulsively and mindlessly. Something called System 1 and System 2 thinking. So
I think that for me personally, I plan out going so today, I will plan out, I am going to go to McDonald's after I go to my appointment. And I will sometimes plan out fast food restaurants I'm going to go to before I even get out of bed. And sometimes I might even plan them a day in advance, so I have it to look forward to. There's been a while since there's been like a nasty story about me. I'll give you a new one. I used to throw up in my own mouth in the morning with like acid reflux, and the fast food that I couldn't taste was the place that I would go to that day.
You buy something on impulse, it means that you did so without any prior plans or intentions to do so. And importantly, without rationally considering that choice. All of a sudden, you're overcome with this desire or impulse to take action, to seize that instant gratification. And before you know it, you do. This is behaving impulsively. And if you're thinking, that's totally me, I really gotta stop doing that, you are not the only one.
Why don't you just stop doing it? It's not like Ronald McDonald puts his fucking clown hand on your car and he goes, okay, you're gonna come right over here. All right, give me your money. If they could, they would.
Apparently, 58% of trips to limited service restaurants, aka drive-thrus, are already impulsive to begin with. I took this stat from a website called QSR Magazine.
They're tactical decisions
written for fast food franchisees and drive-thru operators.
Quick serve restaurant.
And it's full of tips on how to turn your drive-thru into the money-making machine it could be. Anyway, why is this important? Well, because when a behavior is impulsive, it's really hard to control. Because it's not a conscious...
Well, I guess you just have to go to every single McDonald's then. I guess from now on, anytime I see a McDonald's, I'm going to have to go there. And if I see a Taco Bell after I see the McDonald's, I'm going to have to go there too. Because I can't, it's hard to control. I can't do it. I have to eat the food.
Rational choice, it's instead an automatic, mindless reaction to the environment. And you behaving automatically and mindlessly is the main goal of a dark nudge. If you've never heard the term dark nudge before, I should probably explain like a regular nudge first. The definition of a nudge is an indirect means of influencing behavior toward a desired action. More specifically, it's about
every single type of marketing. Yes. And signage
in a way that it subtly takes you down a specific path or guides you to a specific choice. A dark nudge, on the other hand, is more aggressive. It exploits your cognitive biases in order to change your behavior against your best interests.
Let me give y'all an example. That's a dark nudge right there. Where it goes 69, 109, this much, and then 17. That's an example. We just got dark nudged. There's a lot of them. They're everywhere.
Exactly what's happening when corporations are trying to get you hooked on their products by any means necessary. Many drive-thru restaurants have been completely redesigned with the goal of activating your more impulsive side in mind. I learned from QSR that the drive-thru is first divided into zones. Each zone is optimized to influence your decision making. The entry zone is all about making it as easy as possible for your car to make it from the street to the drive-thru. And fast food companies do this by literally mapping out your parking lot experience and then placing signage and arrows at any potential confusion points.
We could talk and make jokes about how it's like, it's like a slaughterhouse for cows, which McDonald's kind of is in a way, right? But the truth is that wouldn't any logical person do that in any situation in which you wanted to direct a person to go to your business? It's yellow paint. It is. It's yellow paint. Yeah. Bring back hardcore drive-thrus. With no hints, no tips. You just have to talk to all the different trash cans in the parking lot until you find the one that has a radio on it.
It might seem small, but the point is to remove any possible friction from your journey to their cash.
Which is the exact thing that you should do whenever you're doing any business and selling any product whatsoever. This is what you do. That's how it works.
Register. Because friction is another behavioral science principle. And this principle says that any friction at all will cause...
I'll give you an example of her doing it. So whenever you start your video out with an advertisement, the friction of getting the people to watch your video is lower. So what a lot of content creators like her do is they add an ad into the first few minutes of the video, so that way the person is already invested and they continue watching even though they have the ad, because at the beginning they're not invested, so it's easier for them to bounce off of the video. So removing friction is something that's done in every facet of life, and it's also done in every avenue of business.
Less of a behavior to occur on average. As you get closer to the drive-through window, you enter the pre-order zone. These days, a lot of fast food companies are switching to dual-lane drive-thrus.
Dual-wheel drive-thrus. These are so fucking good. Like Chick-fil-A does this. McDonald's does this. They're like the two main places that do it.
Where one lane is split in two. But a lot of people online have noticed that this seems really...
Y'all ever go to Panda Express and you spend 45 minutes in there and you get up to the fucking menu and they say they don't have fried rice? McDonald's doesn't have that happen, I'll tell you that. The Panda Express, they don't sell pandas and they're not fast. It's a fucking lie. They should be sued. Have to change their fucking name.
Pointless, because ultimately there's usually only one person taking orders. This guy even uploaded a whole aerial shot to show that the dual lane
Soon there's going to be nobody taking orders. It's going to be a robot.
Thing doesn't make any sense. Now maybe the main purpose of the dual lane drive-through is just to make sure that the line doesn't end up creeping out onto the road, or maybe...
The problem is, like, so there's this psychology, like, how many of you guys, like, if you see this, you're like, I guess we're going to go to Taco Bell today. Because, like, whenever I see this, I'm like, ugh. And that's it. It's friction. It is. It's friction.
It's another psychology trick meant to make the line appear shorter than it really is. One Psychology Today article even called it the...
And I also want to say that it actually is faster. Like, the McDonald's drive-thru experience now is tremendously improved ever since utilizing this new technology. Like, I have been to McDonald's over 1,000 times. At least 1,000. So, yeah, okay, so something like that. Like, I'll tell you, like, I have been at a McDonald's drive-thru. Like, I went to, oh, fuck, where was it? I went to Taco Cabana. There was one person in front of me, and it took longer than it would take for me to go through a McDonald's drive-thru twice.
Illusion of convenience. Fast food drive-through lanes are a trap. Unless the line is already long and backed up around the curve, you can't see how many cars are ahead of you. Then, once you've placed your order, you're blocked.
You can if you're an expert. So, if you can tell what it is... You want to check also, because, like, if I'm driving towards the building, I can see how many are on the line there, right? And then you can come around and you see how many are on the line on the other side. Like, I'm telling you, like, maybe she only goes to fast food restaurants, like, once a week. But, like, for a professional here, no, you can easily figure it out.
From exiting by the vehicles in front of you, and soon by those behind you.
Yeah.
A long lineup of cars would instantly reduce the seductive quality of convenience. True. This long lineup is a moment of friction. It slows you down a little bit and may make you reconsider, think more about your decision to get fast food, which means people would be switching from...
For me, it never does that. It makes me think about my decision. Do I want to go to this McDonald's or the other McDonald's? Or like, oh, there's a Taco Bell here. I could just go to Taco Bell. Like, there's Burger King. I might as well just get Burger King.
From impulse mode.
But I feel like, I mean, what kind of a loser? Dude, what kind of a loser? Oh, wow, the drive-thru line is long. I guess I might as well just go home. No. You go to another drive-thru.
Rational thinking mode. And remember,
it's
the
quitter talk. Yeah, it's loser talk.
Is to use the environment to trigger impulsive decision making. When QSR magazine asked a Coca-Cola executive what he recommends on how to sell more product, he had this to say: a way is to ensure that consumers don't do a lot of thinking. In other words, thinking.
Oh, this is also true too for retail sales. So one thing that happens with retail is something that's called choice paralysis, analysis paralysis. Like, there's a lot of different terminology for it. And it's whenever you present the customer with like 50 different options. And I think one place that really does a great job at narrowing down those options is Apple. If you go to the Apple store, there's like 7 products there. So you don't really have to do a lot of thinking on which one you want to get and a lot of like analytical decision making. You just have to decide, do I want this one or the other one? Yeah, decision fatigue, right? And this is the case for a lot of things because obviously think about how much resources have been put into like the psychology of online purchasing. And like I know this for at least like selling merchandise is that sometimes it's better to only sell a few items because if you have 50 items in like a merchandise sale, people might not buy anything, but if you only have 6, then it's easier for them to look and weigh their options against each other. Because whenever you have 50 items, the person always has in the back of their mind, oh my God, maybe I'm buying the wrong thing. But if there's only 6 things, it's easier to make that decision.
In the way of their
Digital marketing?
convenience model. So next time you see a dual lane drive-through, just know that it's basically just a trick to lure you further into their zone.
This is fake. There's one thing I would disagree with on this. This is fake. Nope, not true. The dual wheel drive-throughs are way fucking better. They are. And I've been there so many times. I think that it's a huge fucking improvement. I've been to McDonald's over 1,000 times in my life. Like, as soon as they put that shit in there, like, if I want to go somewhere and get my food fast, I go to motherfucking McDonald's. Like, and it's that dual-wheel drive-through. Like, that's what really, like, just changed the game. And I bet in 10 years, more places are going to have it.
So now that you're fully committed to your decision to eat fast food, being that you're trapped by the cars in front of you and behind you, fast food places utilize the pre-order zone to persuade you to buy more stuff. The strategy here is usually to use their drive-through signage to alert you to new or novel items. This is for
y'all ever see like a really old person pull up to one of those and be like, yeah, can I get
reasons. First off, novelty is just like convenience. It's another thing that we're really biased toward. Novelty bias. Novelty grabs our attention and gets us excited. Our brains love new, novel, shiny things.
Like the Grimace shake that they did at McDonald's. Remember that?
Interesting different options trigger dopamine. So while you might ignore an advertisement for a boring hamburger you're already aware the chain sells, you are much more likely to pay attention to a new fun item you've never seen there before. Which is
like remember whenever the Baconator came out? That was a big deal.
Why this past year, McDonald's released a new McFlurry pretty well every other month. Right now we have the Trick or Treat McFlurry.
That's crazy. She had the same example that I did, yeah. The Trick or Treat one. Wait, should I go and get one of these? Maybe I should do. I should do more food reviews. I remember there was this girl talking to me about Squishmallows, and I thought for the whole time that they were just like, I thought it was just like another word for boobs. It's the same as boba tea. I thought boba was just somebody stupid misspelling booba. I didn't learn that it was a real thing for like a year.
For that, the Squishmallow McFlurry, the Caramel Popcorn McFlurry, the Strawberry Shortcake McFlurry, and
Caramel Popcorn? It sounds fucking disgusting. And ice cream?
the Christmassy
Wait, no, I want to know what these are.
The Caramel Popcorn McFlurry, the Strawberry Shortcake McFlurry.
Oh, no, see, like, you know, they're trying to go for that, you know, like those those like ice cream bars that you get, the popsicles from like the ice cream truck? Like they're trying to go for that, but it won't work because it's not distributed in the right way.
And a Christmassy Candy Cane Fudge McFlurry.
Oh, that one's
and
probably
of course,
really good.
Novelty is another risk factor for impulsive behavior.
Oh, yeah.
On top of that, if you're already in line to eat fast food, and if it was a totally impulsive decision, like it is for most people, then you may be in the mood to quote-unquote treat yourself, which according to...
Treat yourself. Treat yourself with diabetes. Slay Queen, yep. That's a fat people word. I'm trying to think if there's ever been an instance in my life that I've heard somebody say treat yourself that wasn't overweight.
Ipsos poll is one of the major emotional drivers of impulse buys. So if you're already in the mood to treat yourself to fast food, you may think, well, why not just throw on a Grimace shake or a pumpkin spice frosty or a double down hot dog or any of the other insane...
A double down hot dog. They have that?
items that they add to try and grab your attention. It seems that these days, fast food companies are coming out with new novel items all the time. And maybe this is
And this is a good idea. I actually like that they do this because it creates more content for me. Like, it's good for everybody because like every time they bring out a new item, there's like a lot of people who like make content online and like they're looking for these new items for new content. So like it's like a symbiotic relationship where like they get advertising for these new bullshit products without even needing to pay money for them just by the fact that they're novelties. It's actually a really smart decision for them to do.
technology thing, but I can't help but wonder if it's because they've acquired so much more behavioral science now and they know that novelty is a powerful driver of our behavior. Another thing,
this is not a new thing, right? Like, and like she's probably around my age, so she probably remembers this too. Is like, I remember back in the, like, we're talking about like pre 9/11 days. I remember going to McDonald's with my mom after we saw on the news that the new rotation of Beanie Babies were in the Happy Meals at McDonald's. And we went there and we waited in line for our Happy Meal with Beanie Babies for like an hour. Because there were so many other people that were there too. Yeah, it's very normal.
that I think is a purely behavioral trick in the pre-order zone is the fact that at some fast food chains, you can now no longer see the menu until you get right up in front of the menu. I don't know how many places are doing this. I personally don't go to a ton of drive-thrus. I know I probably sound like the ambassador of drive-thrus in making this video, but I got coffee from a Tim Hortons about a month or so ago. If you've never heard of Tim Hortons, it's the most popular coffee chain by far here in Canada. I personally hate it. I just
it's Canada.
It's like the only one around at that time. For some strange reason, you cannot see their menu until you get right up in front of it. And that's when I discovered their like anti-glare film or whatever it was on top of the screen. And I'm like, okay, another Tim Hortons fail. Why is it that Starbucks could make a sign that has no issues like this, but Tim Hortons has to get the worst one of all time? But then a few weeks later, I'm researching this video, I go to McDonald's to get an ice cream cone, and I noticed that they also have these anti-glare or whatever film on top, so you can't see the sign until you get right up in front of it. Now, I'd expect something like this from Tim Hortons, but not from McDonald's. You know, I'm a McDonald's hater just like out of principle. But even
I don't think this is true. Because from that perspective, see, like whenever you're going up to the drive-thru, you're like, you're coming up, this is the thing, right? And so like you're coming up like this, and so you can see it before you get to the drive-thru. And if you're like this, like she was showing, you've already placed your order and you're driving away. So I don't know. Like I'm not sure. Like unless that there's like they stated this, it's true where I live. Let's be real. Who needs a fucking menu at McDonald's anyways? Well, I do. I don't know.
I recognize
I'm not convinced this is a psychological trick because I think that it would also increase the amount of time that it would take for people to order, and it would probably make the service worse. And I don't think that they would take that risk. And so that's the reason why I'm not convinced, just by, you know, a couple of coincidences.
Respect what they do and respect their business to some degree because they are truly masterful at what they do.
So like I go to McDonald's about 5 times a week. What the fuck? That's crazy. Wow. People that are running and making decisions with McDonald's are fucking geniuses. And I'm not even kidding you. It is insanely good. It puts everybody else in the fucking dirt. They are.
Every move they make is calculated, and they're not going to
That's
roll
right.
out these signs
True.
unless they're making the money somehow. So there must be some advantage, but again, maybe it's not a customer service advantage. Maybe the reason again is to increase the likelihood that you'll behave impulsively. If it's impossible for you to see the menu board until you get right up in front of it, then you're forced to read the menu and make a decision quickly, or else hold up the rest of the line. Urgency is another behavioral trigger. And when things feel urgent, studies show that you're much more likely to act out of impulse than think things through.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. I'd have to see more evidence of that, because I think you can also make a lot of arguments about how it's a bad decision too. It's true? You think it's true? I don't know. Like, I don't think that, like, just because you can't see the menu from a certain angle doesn't necessarily mean that it's like some kind of crazy psychological trick to make you buy things at that exact point. I think that if more companies start doing this, because like this is what we have, right? For like a lot of my McDonald's, is that there's actually two menus. Like there's the ordering menu and then there's the menu in front of you. Yeah, there's a pre-menu, right? Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know.
Sitting in line, coolly contemplating your options and thinking through your decision while you're waiting in line, you're using system 2 rational thinking. But when things feel urgent, you make snap judgments and you're using system 1 impulsive thinking.
She's right.
Increasing the likelihood that you'll add more to your cart or make a more indulgent choice. Studies have shown that a sense of urgency undermines self-control. So by forcing you into making a quick decision, fast food restaurants may be able to entice you to grabbing a few extra items. So don't be afraid to say, give me a moment. All right, finally, you're about to pull up and place your order. We've reached the order zone and the menu board itself.
Okay.
Once upon a time, drive-through menus were just text lists of food items. But today, many of them have had a behavioral science makeover in order to get you to spend more and therefore also eat more. You would think that's just switching
I'll tell you the real fucking reason why they changed the menu to that digital shit is because it looked bad whenever they had to go change the price and go and change the 9 to a 7, or like, actually, no, let's be more realistic, the 7 to a 9 every few days. Because like, how many of you guys, you would have, remember the menus at McDonald's and they had like the little, it's like you would stick them in there and it'd be like a 3 or something like that. And then like they would change it regularly. But now they're changing it up on you so much, so often, the prices are going up all the time, that guess what happens? Well, I'll tell you what happens. They have to have a digital menu because they keep increasing the prices so much it costs them too much money to have to go get new stuff. That's what's going on. Tell you that.
print menu to a digital menu wouldn't really be a big deal. But in 2019, McDonald's invested $6 billion into digital signage. And within the first year, they had already reported a 5% increase in US total sales.
Yeah, of course.
Which, like, 5% just doesn't sound very impressive. But a McDonald's 5% is a big number considering they serve 25 million people every single day. So what is it about digital menus that's such a moneymaker? Well, first, it allows McDonald's total freedom in utilizing choice architecture, which is a behavioral...
Which is also, like, I mean, I also want to say that from a customer perspective, digital menus are better. So, like, there's a psychological component that's beneficial to McDonald's. Sure, absolutely. But, like, as a customer, it is better for me having the digital menus. They look better. The visuals do not get sun damage. They are updated. They are backlit. So if you're looking at it at night, there's never an issue. It's just better in every single way.
Science concept that states that the way you present choices to people influences what they ultimately end up choosing.
That's true.
It turns out that the decisions that you make are affected by the arrangement, layout, order, variety, and context of the way available options are presented to you. And these things can be optimized in order to manipulate what you ultimately end up choosing. And a digital menu board is the literal perfect way to leverage this. Here's fast food menu trick number 1. Pay attention next time you hit a drive-thru to the very first option on the menu you can see. It turns out that for whatever reason, our brains
40-piece nuggets. Or McNuggets, actually. Excuse me. That's a lot of fucking McNuggets. Remember that one news story about the guy that ate like 290 nuggets and he went blind? After that, I've been afraid to eat more than 20.
reason, our brains are really biased toward the first option presented to us.
Yeah.
Usually this means the upper left of your viewpoint, but for the drive-through, it's probably somewhere down here based on the view from your window. According to behavioral science, whatever option is presented first will be chosen way more often overall to a scary degree. This is called the primacy effect. And it's so powerful that multiple studies have shown that even on election ballots, the first candidate listed will receive extra votes just for being listed first. Which is actually
this happens on straw polls too. Like even for straw polls, people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna just click the first one." People dumb as hell.
Led to some states requiring that they make randomization of like the ballot people mandatory. Ballot people, you know what I mean. But back to fast food menus. Knowing the primacy effect, fast food companies can nudge you into purchasing more profitable items just by showing you them first. Now the next trick is also crazy simple, but extremely powerful. Starbucks was lagging behind in the drive-through department, so they spent millions of dollars conducting behavioral research and analyzing their customers, hoping to increase sales. However many dollars of research later, the biggest discovery they made was the power of imagery. Seems obvious, but imagery—
Yeah, that's another thing with the digital menus. The digital menus have great pictures. Like, they're actually really good. And so it shows better pictures of what the food is. Because, like, y'all remember going to Wendy's back in the yellow Wendy's days? And it was, like, just this old faded picture of, like, a Dave's double. And you could barely even tell, like, what the fuck is that? Now it's way better.
Sell food products. Way better than boring text on a board ever could. So Starbucks now uses tempting imagery to draw your eyes to the most profitable items on their menu. If it's highlighted with a picture, you can bet it's making them money. I did some recon at a local Starbucks and you can see they have a separate little board plugging the things that they really want you to see first. Again, on any fast food menu, pay attention to the items that are featured with large, attractive images. These pictures aren't just there to look cute, they're there to nudge you into buying
How much is that? $6.25? Holy shit. Oh my god. That's crazy.
These more profitable items. According to QSR magazine again, these changes resulted in the drive-thru driving more than 50% of net sales for Starbucks in the last quarter of 2021. So
not
as you can see, even though all of these little behavioral hacks and tiny nudges have been tiny, they are clearly worth the investment for food companies.
No, anybody that plays games knows this shit. Like, you play PoE, you know this real well, right? It's like you put like a bunch of like 0.5% increases together and like suddenly now you're one-shotting bosses. Like 1%'s add up a lot.
I also feel like we can't leave this section without me mentioning the original fast food menu hack, the combo meal.
Oh yeah.
Originally invented by Burger Chef in the early 60s, the first combo meal was called the Triple Threat.
Look at the price. Coca-Cola is like, was that 15 cents? French fries is 23 cents. Hamburger is 23 cents. Double cheeseburger is 52 cents. That's... what the fuck? The $1 menu, yeah.
And included a burger, fries, and a drink for just 45 cents. Now, unfortunately for Burger Chef, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and the rest of them were able to run with their idea to the point that even though Burger Chef is now long gone, the combo meal lives on and has actually become synonymous with fast food.
And you can have like, there's like chimera combos now, right? Because like you have like, for example, Wendy's had like the 4 for $4 deal. So like you can make your own combo meal. They've even like evolved it farther.
Go to a fast food restaurant these days, you're probably ordering a combo meal. And if you're like most people, you don't even consider doing anything other than that. By combining these three things, fast food chains have made the burger, fry, drink grouping the default option. The upsell is now the main thing that everyone buys without even considering whether or not they're thirsty or whether or not they really wanted fries with that. Defaulting is another bias. And
see, like, I don't know. I remember whenever I was broke, like, I definitely would go and do that. Like, I wouldn't give a fuck. I had no problem. Like, I would just get the, like, I remember there were sometimes, like, I would literally go there would be 2 fast food restaurants next to each other, and I knew all the prices, everything, right? I would go through one drive-thru and order some things, and then go to the other drive-thru and order the other things, so I could min-max the amount of food that I got for the money.
Most popular behavioral nudges employed by people and businesses trying to change your behavior.
Yeah.
The default effect states that people tend to opt for or remain with the default choice even in the face of better options. The combo meal is a big example, but probably the most common one used by businesses is pre-ticking boxes for you. They make the opt-in the default, knowing that you're unlikely to opt out. The way these behavioral science techniques work is by
I do feel like that should probably be like illegal. Like, especially for things whenever you consent to things. It's like assumed consent, right? I feel like assumed consent is a bad thing. Especially whenever you're talking about like privacy and like your data and your like information.
bypassing your thinking mind and speaking directly toward the more automatic part of the brain. Meaning that fast food companies prefer to do the thinking for you. And they do so by appealing directly to the more impulsive side of the brain with behavioral science. And food companies haven't even gotten started yet. Technology is
No, they're gonna do it way more. Like, they're gonna have like AI and shit where they like change the prices dynamically. And like, I guarantee you, bro, like, this is if I was McDonald's or I was one of these places, I would find a fucking way to automatically detect the type of car that somebody is driving and then dynamically price things based off of the type of car they're driving. Because I bet if somebody's driving a 2024 fucking Mustang or like, some brand new Lexus, you could get them to pay an extra $1 for a hamburger whenever if somebody pulls in there with a 1998 beater, just give them the $1 drink and then maybe they'll come back later anyway. Like, yeah, you can scan the card. That's a good fucking idea. I bet they should do that. Stop giving them ideas. Yeah, they should do that. Like, I've got, bro, if McDonald's wants to hire me, I'll take that 39% obesity and we'll try and get that all the way up to 50%. We'll try to go all the way. Get to half.
Revolutionizing the way drive-thrus digital menu screens are
I come up with like 5 more ideas like that.
Behavior. In 2019, McDonald's spent more than $300 million buying a company that specializes in AI suggestive selling on the order screen at their drive-thrus.
Smart.
What is this dynamic menu really going to offer?
It's really going to, I think, a way to try to get you to buy more food, which is what
wow, who would have never guessed? That's crazy. So the thing that McDonald's is doing is to get you to get more food. What the fuck? Are you serious? Thank God we got the expert on here to tell us this.
Wants to do.
Currently, this new AI technology has mostly been used to leverage historical sales data and local weather and traffic patterns in order to predict and pitch.
We're happy you're here. Like, you know what I really fucking hate is like these companies that try to pull on your heartstrings. Like, it's like the McDonald's wants to be like your happy place. It's like the treat yourself mentality. It's like, it works too, though. No, I bet it does, right? I do. I bet it does work, but it's still it's so fucking cringe to me.
The add-on items that are most likely to be chosen at that particular time and day. For example, the digital menu could quickly switch to suggesting ice cream or a frosty drink on a hot day, or warmed baked goods and hot drinks on a cold day.
Which, by the way, is again, like we talk about. There's a lot of conversation about like marketing techniques, and generally the conversation ends at the point where the marketing technique is determined to be bad, right? Like ethically, morally bad, or in some form or another. However, there are a lot of marketing techniques and a lot of sales techniques are ways that improve the customer experience and make it easier for the customer to know what they want. So I think this is a good example for that. Free donut with with any iced coffee purchase, 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. Oh, wow. This like tiny little 5-hour window that people probably, because you know what people do, right? Is they come over and they're like, oh, they show up on Saturday at 10 a.m. Oh, there's no donut. Well, in their head, I've already programmed myself to eat a donut today. So if I don't eat a donut today, my day's ruined. So I guess I'm going to have to buy the donut.
tech to kind of customize this and get you to buy more.
That's
we know
how
so
it
much
is.
about who we are, where we are, especially if
That's how
we're
it
using
is.
the app. So it's really kind of all about getting you to spend more money.
And again, seemingly tiny changes like this are extremely effective at driving sales.
Oh, yeah.
And thus getting you to tack on an extra 250 calories and $2 or $3 to your order. It's no surprise that within months, it was reported that this investment was already generating larger orders from their customers. But
Yeah,
this
and like this is really the best thing about like really good marketing and really good sales is whenever psychological manipulation and value add to the customer service experience converge. So like basically it's best for you to exploit somebody and for them to ask you to do it. And I think that fast food restaurants have gotten really good at this. So have games.
is just the beginning of the way AI and technology are helping to sell us more food. The next step, and the step
Yes.
that many are working on rolling out according to QSR, is leveraging your private personal data to pitch you an extreme...
Yeah, imagine they can read your license plate and then they have a license plate registration thing where they have like everybody that's like a fucking customer there and they can automatically sell you something. Like I bet they could do that shit. That would be such a good fucking idea. They could read that and then immediately like put the things up that you think that you would want. Oh man, that would be illegal. Yeah, they'd probably have to get around that somehow. But like, a phone app, yeah, something like that. Yeah, drink the verification can. Yeah.
customized ways.
The final
AI
one,
and
yeah.
big data are, quote, providing opportunities for the food and beverage industry to influence customer behavior in ways that are more intelligent, immersive, and engaging than ever before. This paper, use of artificial intelligence to enable dark
I bet another thing that I think they should do is they should have like whenever you buy the food. Would this be a good idea? I don't know. What would you guys think about this? If it showed you the order that the last person made. As like a way to like create like a... I think that would work. No? I don't know. If you're fat, if the other person's fat. Yeah, I could see that working sometimes. Some kind of stalking shit? No. It would be the idea that like, so you know how like OnlyFans girls like will post videos or like post like pictures or screenshots of like a guy that's like gave them a bunch of money? The reason why is that the implication is that they're worth giving the money to. So would the fact that the previous person made a purchase there be an inclination to the same person to make another purchase? I don't know. I bet there's some way you could do that that would be a good idea.
by transnational food and beverage
top 5
companies,
biggest orders? Yeah, something like that.
analysis of
Yeah, I bet that would
company
work.
documents, claims that according to internal documents, leading global food and beverage companies have been using AI to influence consumer behavior since as early as 2014. And some of their methods include...
Of course, like everybody talks about, oh, AI is new. There's all types of like algorithms and shit like that people have been figuring out for a long time. Of course. How? Because the way that AI is described now, like AI is used as a term. Like what's another term that's like AI? Like where it becomes like an umbrella term for so many different things that NPC, deep learning, machine learning. Yeah, there's that. Probiotic is probably another one. Random, yeah, algorithmic, random generation, blockchain. Yeah, a lot of these words are used and they become like these buzzwords. People hear this, they're like, oh, wow, that's the word for the things that are new and that are special. That's what happens.
facial recognition, social listening, and license plate profiling. Multiple fast food restaurants are currently
I got some smart dudes over at that McDonald's, I'll tell you that. I got some smart dudes over there. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
trialing cameras in the lot that will read your license plate as you pull into
That's
the
right.
drive-thru. This
That's
is
a
called
fact.
automatic license plate
There it
recognition,
is.
or ALPR. This technology will allow McDonald's to serve you totally customized...
They have this, like, by the way, cops have this too, like, obviously. So, like, if you are playing hide and seek, you want to make sure the cop never pulls out in front of you, or sorry, behind you. Because, like, that's where they get you. Like, because like they pull in behind you and then they read your plates. And so like always, anytime that you're somewhere, make sure that you see who's going to pull in behind you and that it's not a cop so they don't read your plates.
AI-based food recommendations based on your license plate number. They'll be able to use data about your previous purchase information to help sell you additional items that you didn't intend on buying. In the future, the menu you see will be completely unique to you and your unique preferences, using your previous purchase data and so much more. Here's how
they'll use your fucking like a biometric data.
Could go down. It's 8:23 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, and you're in the drive-thru line picking up a coffee from McDonald's before the workday begins. Just a coffee this morning, you think? But as you wait in line, the digital billboard beside your window quickly rolls over
Hi,
to
Jimothy.
see a
Who the
sizzling
fuck is
McGriddle
Jimothy?
value deal. You normally just order a coffee, but you vaguely recall ordering a McGriddle and a hash brown on a Wednesday morning, just like this one about a month ago. Then it's finally your turn to pull up an order. You order your coffee, and the voice informs you that today there's a value deal just for you. You can get your coffee free if you purchase a McGriddle and a hash brown. At first you decline.
So they could give people like individual special offers. I wonder, like, for me, like, that would be really cool if they had that in a way, because remember back like the old library like punch cards where it's like, you know, if you buy 10 slushies you get the 11th one free or something like that, or like a sticker book. So, like, they could do that with the license plates, and then you could get free food every once in a while. Because, yeah, they have that with the app now, right? This feels like a legal gray area, most likely illegal. Well, here's the difference. So, it will be made illegal if it doesn't give people free stuff. But if it does give people free food, then it will not be illegal. It's pretty simple.
And continue placing your order, but McDonald's AI knows that just by asking you one more time, they are 11% more likely to make the sale. So the AI prompts you again, and this time you think, what the heck? And boom, McDonald's has turned your $1 coffee order into $6, and you've just eaten 800 unplanned calories. Personalizing the menu board is going to allow fast food
companies. And I have to go back and say what I said beginning. Quit being a fucking hog. Unplanned calories. But do you know why I haven't finished this bag of beef jerky? It's because I haven't eaten it yet. I haven't eaten it. Like, just don't eat the food. Like, if you're eating a lot of food, I understand that McDonald's has psychological tricks. And, like, some of those might need to be regulated. But just stop eating it. Because every single person, every single day, exercises a tremendous amount of self-control. Because for every McDonald's that they go to, they don't go to the Taco Bell. They don't go to the Dunkin' Donuts. They don't go to the Wendy's. Or they go to one of those instead. So every single time that a person sees an advertisement, it's not like mind control, where I have to buy it. I need it. I have to go there right now. That's not how it works. The truth is that if you buy something like this, you are already exercising discretion even inside of your purchase decision. So at a certain point, people need to be held accountable for bad decisions that they make. And I don't think that it's fair to blame McDonald's for pricing things in a way that's convenient for customers that is also beneficial for them, and people lacking self-control as a reason to blame them for it. This is a personal choice that you make as an individual. It's not their fault. You're witless. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it's like at a certain point, like, how many guardrails and protections do we need to put up in society for people that don't have any self-control to avoid them ruining their own lives? Because, like, to me, like, I think that it's important to make sure that, like, you have rules for bad actors. But, for example, like, changing the menu based off of what you've previously ordered, I don't really think that's a big deal if the person's consented to it ahead of time. Because, like, if they hadn't, then it's, like, you know, probably a privacy violation in some way, or at least it should be. So what's really the problem here? So I just think that people need to exercise a lot more of their own free will. I don't know if I agree, because I look alike. It makes sense for other obese people. I know it doesn't. Well, like, there's never a time where Ronald McDonald grabs your car and puts your car in the drive-thru. You drive your car over there. You're taking your car and you're putting your car in the drive-thru. So what is the problem here? Just don't do it. I think that we have a huge problem in our culture with people skirting personal accountability. I think that people are clamoring, clawing, trying their best to figure out some way that they can displace personal responsibility onto some other actor other than themselves because of their own personal lack of self-control. And I think that it's becoming a big problem.
Companies so much precision and marketing to people. Rather than guessing at the add-ons that you're most likely to buy like they do now, fast food companies will be able to use data about you to pitch things that you specifically are most likely to buy, making it much, much more likely that you will increase.
And this is, of course, how Amazon works. This is how everything works. That's why you have cookies in like browsers, is so they can recommend things to you that they think that you would like. Fast food is just one element of that.
Order size. Now, the license plate thing is one way to store and track your personal data, but it's really only the tip of the iceberg. The future of the drive-thru is dystopian if we all don't learn to act less impulsively. Or swear off drive-thrus.
See, that's fucking exactly. Learn to act less impulsively. That's the fucking solution right there. Stop eating so much fucking food.
That's an option too. Because the future of the drive-thru and fast food in general is the apps. You can tell this by how hard they're working to get you to download them. McDonald's has them taking up prime real estate all over their menus and ad campaigns, which indicates that the app is extremely valuable to them.
There was this one time I was at Taco Cabana and this guy came up to me and he wanted my receipt so he could put my receipt information into his app so he could get closer in order to get the next free taco. And he spent 10 minutes after that talking to me about how good the app is for Taco Cabana and how much free stuff he got with it. I think they should pay him. And then after he got done talking to me about that, he pulled up his YouTube channel, and it was a YouTube channel about the earth being flat. And we had a conversation about flat earth for a good, 20, 30 minutes or so.
These fast food apps pack a lot into them, but their main purpose is to find creative ways of extracting and exploiting your personal data as well as location. But I'm not even fully sure what the full potential of these apps are. But let's just say that the future for the fast food industry...
Well, the full potential is increasing that 39% obesity to half. That's the potential. Like, they want to get people to eat more food. So if you know that's the goal, then it's pretty easy to work backwards from that. It's data mining too. Yeah, it's also data mining. Alinity got banned.
With this new invasive tool in their arsenal. The app could literally be its own entire video, so we'll leave that for another time. But as we've seen, dark nudges are simple, tiny tweaks to your environment that alter your behavior in predictable ways. And each one of these individual nudges on their own are not really a big deal. Each one of them stands to only modestly affect your behavior. Certain nudges are more effective than others, and certain nudges may even backfire and not work at all on you. But as
like I've had that happen where, like, if I see something and it's annoying to me, like a pop-up, I'm like now more against it than I would have been naturally. It takes me from neutral and it makes me aggressive or hostile.
Seen with drive-thrus, it's a laid out plan. You're being manipulated before you even hit the lots. And fast food companies are not the only people using behavioral science to get you to behave in a way that undermines your best interests. We live in unprecedented times where the entire world and its algorithms...
Everybody does that, including her, including me, including everyone. Behavioral science is just simply a manifestation of people learning how to sell. Like, this is a very simple thing. It's nothing that's actually, like, if you look at it on a fundamental level, it's something that everybody engages with constantly. It's kind of like, so you ever hear about like what's called like code switching? Whenever it's like somebody talks with one group of friends this way, but whenever they're with another group of friends, it's the other way. It's like Hillary Clinton, and she's like, well, yeah, this is why I think I'm the best person. And then whenever she's like in Tennessee, she's like, howdy, y'all. Well, I remember back whenever I was a youngin', and like that's code switching, right? And so, lock her up. Yeah, especially for that. Pokemon go to the fucking polls. And so, absolutely. But the truth is that everybody does this. It's seen as fake, but everybody does it. What, are you going to talk the same to your grandma that you're going to talk to your friends? Fuck no. Of course not. But like, again, people like, I think that one thing that people like to have in life is that they like to have like a very, very clear, like good and bad, like evil and good. They don't want to have like all this nuance, all this gray area, all this, oh, I don't know if that's true or this is true or what. And I think because of that, what ends up happening is that people try to push so far towards the simplicity of like these like dualities, like these invisible dualities.
Are trying to alter
It's called
your
adapting. Yes,
behavior.
exactly.
Corporations are trying to exploit the mindless.
Yeah, you think the Kia boys talk to their parents the same way they talk to Andrew? Fuck no.
and its algorithms are trying to alter your behavior. Corporations
Absolutely.
are trying to exploit the mindless, impulsive parts of us to get us to eat more, scroll more, and buy more.
Yeah, just like, again, like this YouTube video, right? Disturbing reality of drive-thrus. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like my channel, like we have used clickbait before. I'm not saying that we use it all the time. There would be some people who would say that, but I will say that we have used it before in the past. And the reason why people use clickbait is because it works. That's the reason. Are you telling me this game didn't change your life?
Is over the coming years, with this technology getting more and more powerful, if you don't consciously choose your life and your behavior, it will absolutely be chosen for you. We're living in a world where corporations know us better than we know ourselves. The richest corporations have spent the last 15 years collecting sensitive personal data and using this data to learn the ways to alter our behavior in the way that best benefits them. But research shows that awareness, just being aware that there are psychological triggers at play, can help lessen their pull.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point, and that's why videos like this are really effective and useful. It's not that like these things are necessarily bad, but once you know that they exist, it gives you the ability to identify them whenever you're in front of them. Because the strongest and most effective types of tools like this are the ones that happen like kind of incognito, right? They happen and you don't know that they're happening.
So,
it's discernment, yeah.
And if you're unaware of how the majority of our food supply is made, you need to watch this video on ultra-processed food. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
I know how my McDonald's food is made. It's made with love. And pink paste that somehow is coming from chickens. I don't know how that happens. But, you know, they've got those McNuggets, and they're pretty good. So, you know, what's the problem there? This is a really good video. Like, I think that she brought up a lot of really good points. Like, I'm not sure if I was 100% sure with, like, the menu, like, thing or anything like that. I don't know if I believe that. But everything else, I think, and even including that, like, it's important to be skeptical even with that. So even if it's not true, it's important to think about it as if maybe it could be, you know, and not rule it out. I think videos like this are really important because more and more people are, like, you're seeing the psychology of this become more and more refined. And that's why, for example, like, how many of you guys have played a gacha game before? And, yeah, how many people here don't have any self-respect? But how many people have played a gacha game before? And you can open up the menu and you've never seen this game before in your life, but you can immediately tell exactly what everything is. Like, I can watch a game in Chinese and I understand it immediately. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is that thing, this is the other thing. Okay, yeah, I know everything that's good. Yeah, to some degree, yeah, exactly. A lot of these systems, they work really well, and that's why people keep using them. The reason why these gacha places are using the same systems is because they work really well. And the same reason why game developers like Ubisoft use this system is because it works really well. Like, do you think Ubisoft would be making you pay $17 to get a $120 game if they weren't going to make money off of it in the long term? Do you really think that there was no market research put into this? Do you really think that, like, oh, they're like, oh, I don't know, let's just put it out there and see what people decide to do? No, there's a reason why they're doing this. These people that are making these marketing decisions, they're not stupid, man. They really know what they're doing, and they know how to fool hogs into going straight into the slaughterhouse themselves. You don't even have to push them in there. And that's what happens at McDonald's. That's what happens with games. That's what happens with gachas. That's what happens with everything. And so the more that people are aware of it, the more people are acknowledging it and they know that it's happening, the better. And I think that's really what the difference is. The marketing department's definitely full of soft pockets. as you so demonstrated? Oh yeah, there are definitely morons in every department. But I think that the people that are working the psychology for this are really smart. And I think also like because like this is another issue is that, you know, with a lot of places, businesses have to continue growing exponentially in order for them to be seen as profitable in stock markets and for investments. So, you know, you want to have a 20% year-over-year return. So what happens whenever populations in a lot of places begin to stagnate? Like Japan, population stagnating. Places in Europe, population stagnating. And sometimes even regressing. Well, if the population is always going up, you can always assume that you're going to have more customers naturally. Like that's just logically how it would happen. And so whenever that no longer happens, now you have to figure out more ways to make more money with the same people. And whenever that happens, then you get systems like this. And so there's going to be further optimization. And this would have happened no matter what. But I do think that like a lot of like meta level things like population graphs, you know, and like just general like consumer trends, like cultural shifts, etc. Like here's a big cultural shift. I think that now people care a lot more about social issues, like for example, Israel and Palestine. People care a lot more about that than they did 15 years ago. You know, outside of a big one like 9/11, like, you know, you go back to the 90s, people weren't like hyper fixated on this shit. But nowadays, they're super focused on it. And what does that mean? What does that matter? That's why companies try to support these social causes publicly, like gay people or like women or something like that. They don't really care about women or gay people. Of course not. But what they do care about is making women and gay people think that they care about them, so the women and gay people give them money. And that's the real reason why it's happening. And so that's another way for these companies to like further optimize the amount of money that they're getting. And so you're seeing again, like as like the you know, the amount of sales that they make starts to kind of taper off and like plateau, then you're seeing further optimization in the way that sales are made and no longer a focus on selling at scale. So yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot to this. Like I personally, I love marketing psychology. I think this is fucking amazing. I always have like a million different fucking ideas for this kind of stuff. And you know, I went to school for this, and yeah, I like it a lot. So there you go. But is it better this way? I think it's better in some ways. I think that really there will be nothing that can ever solve the problem of people without self-control. You can never create enough guide rails or guardrails in society to prevent a person who has no self-control from hurting themselves. I think that's what happens. Unfortunately true. Yes, somebody can only take accountability for themselves. I'll link you guys the video again. Make sure to give it a like. This is a great fucking video. Like, I've never watched her channel before. Apparently she's seen mine. With McDonald's? Yeah. That was a while ago, too. Oh, boy.